The ice is smooth, the hits are hard, and the scandals are even harder. Welcome to the NHL's dark side, where players and officials alike have been involved in some of the most startling and controversial scandals in sports history. When the skates come off and the cameras stop rolling, what happens behind the scenes can be even more shocking than what you see on the ice. The NHL has had its fair share of scandals that have shaken the hockey industry to its core, ranging from bribery and corruption to disturbing player behavior. Get ready to get cold as we explore some of the biggest NHL scandals ever. Don't move a muscle, as the game is about to get more interesting. Number 8. Blackhawks Scandal. Starting off, we have one of the darkest scandals ever to hit the NHL world. The sexual abuse scandal involving the Chicago Blackhawks. In late October 2021, an independent investigation led to the resignations of several high-ranking officials, including General Manager Stan Bowman and former head coach Joel Quenneville, who'd been in charge during the team's playoff run in 2010. The investigation revealed that the Blackhawks management failed to respond promptly to charges of sexually inappropriate conduct towards a player that year. In May, the player, Kyle Beach, identified himself as the John Doe in a lawsuit against the organization. Beach claimed that former video coach Brett Aldrich sexually assaulted him and another player, and the team covered it up. While the NHL was forced to respond to Beach's allegations, the league's actions were deemed insufficient. Commissioner Gary Bettman held a video chat with Beach to discuss his accusations, but the league faced criticism for not taking more responsibility and for ignoring important reporting by TSN's Rick Westhead. In December 2021, the league expanded its commitment to inclusion, diversity, safety, and respect, requiring mandatory training sessions for all team members. However, critics argue that the 90-minute sessions and the $2 million fine imposed on the Blackhawks, compared to their reported net worth of $1.4 billion, were still insufficient to address the scandal's magnitude. What do you think? Was it fair? Number 7. Riots in Montreal. From 2021, let's go back a few decades. The 1955 Montreal Riot was a significant event in the history of the NHL and race relations in Quebec. It was sparked by the suspension of Canadian star Rocket Richard for the entire season after an altercation with a linesman. Many Canadiens fans, especially those of French-Canadian descent, believe that the suspension was unjust and motivated by discrimination against Richard's ethnicity. The tension reached a boiling point when NHL President Clarence Campbell attended the next Canadiens game at the Montreal Forum. Fans were outraged and showed their displeasure by starting a riot in the Forum that spilled out onto the streets of Montreal. The riot caused damage and injuries, and it was a clear indication of the anger and frustration that had been simmering beneath the surface. This event stands out because it was not just a hockey riot, but a race riot. It highlighted the long-standing feud between French Canadians and English Canadians in Quebec, and it brought attention to the discrimination and prejudice that existed in the province. The riot eventually led to changes in how the two factions interacted and brought a greater understanding and appreciation of each other's cultures. Number 6. Todd Bertuzzi. Away from fans' rivalry, let's talk about player-to-player not seeing eye to eye. Todd Bertuzzi's sucker punch and subsequent slamming of Steve Moore's face into the ice resulted in 3 fractured neck vertebrae and a concussion just 5 years after Marty McSorley's infamous stick swing. It's worth noting that Moore had previously given Marcus Naslund a concussion in a game with a headshot hit that would be considered illegal in today's NHL. Bertuzzi gave a tearful apology and was suspended for the remainder of the 2004 season, returning to play in the 2006 season while Moore has not played since the incident. This incident has had major negative impact on the NHL's reputation, as it further contributed to the notion that hockey was always in the news for the wrong reasons. It was a significant factor in fans losing interest in the sport in the years leading up to the lockout. Additionally, Moore's hit on Naslund was also controversial, and hits to the head have since been a focus of the league's effort to make the game safer. Number 5. Coyotes dysfunction plummeting. In 2021, the Arizona Coyotes were again at the center of numerous scandals and controversies that kept them in the NHL headlines. The team's uncertain future and evergreen storyline remained a major concern throughout the year. The club faced criticism in February 2021 after a report surfaced outlining financial and interpersonal issues within the organization. In August 2021, the city of Glendale announced that it would not renew the operating agreement for Gila River Arena, meaning that the Coyotes would have to find a new home after the 2021 and 2022 season. The team filed a bid for a new arena in Tempe, but the situation with their current arena continued to escalate. On December 9th, Glendale threatened to lock the team out of the Gila River Arena if they didn't pay their debt of more than $1 million in unpaid taxes and fees within 11 days. The Coyotes claimed that the debt was due to human error and announced that they had paid in full the next day. However, several reports later contradicted the team's claims. To add to their woes, just a week before their latest arena drama began, rumors emerged that the Coyotes were on the market for a possible relocation to Houston. Both the team and NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman had to deny these rumors. Number 4. Sheldon Kennedy's story. This story might carry all the weight of all the scandals that have ever happened in the NHL. It's dark, chilling, and worrying, and again, putting the NHL in the spotlight for all the wrong reasons. The chilling story of a junior hockey coach sexually abusing his player is a tragic tale of shattered dreams, trauma, and ruined lives. The coach in question, Graham James, preyed upon Sheldon Kennedy, a young and talented player, subjecting him to repeated sexual abuse during his time in junior hockey. Kennedy, afraid to speak out, was completely under James' control. In the end, James was convicted of 350 counts of sexual assault against Kennedy and another player whose identity remains unknown. Former Calgary Flames player Theoren Fleury also came forward with allegations of assault by James, explaining his struggles with drugs and emotional trauma. Kennedy's promising career was cut short due to the trauma he experienced, and James, now living in Guadalajara, Mexico, faced additional accusations of sexual assault and molestation throughout his time in Canada. Despite the horrors he faced, Kennedy found the courage to speak out against James, a courageous act that deserves recognition. Number 3. Rick Tochet gambling ring. In 2006, the NHL was rocked by a scandal involving an illegal gambling ring, which was run by none other than Rick Tochet, a former Stanley Cup champion and assistant coach for the Phoenix Coyotes. As soon as the news broke, rumors began circulating that the head coach of the Coyotes and hockey legend Wayne Gretzky was involved in the ring. Gretzky, widely regarded as the greatest player of all time, vehemently denied the allegations, but the damage had been done. The media was in a frenzy, and the investigation into the matter revealed that Gretzky's wife Janet had placed bets. The scandal quickly became one of the most talked about in NHL history, with many wondering whether the greatest player of all time had been involved in the illegal gambling operation. While investigations were run to see if Gretzky had placed bets through his wife, no evidence was found. In the end, Tochet received 2 years probation and shut down the ring, while Gretzky was left to deal with the fallout of his wife's involvement. The scandal may not have been as socially significant as some of the other top NHL scandals, but the involvement of the sport's biggest star made it one of the most sensational and unforgettable stories in hockey history. Number 2. Jason Bailey and Anti-Semitism. In 2011, a bizarre story that exemplifies how much room there was to improve as a society emerged when Jason Bailey, a minor league player in the Anaheim Ducks organization, complained that the coaches he played for used derogatory anti-Semitic remarks against him. Bailey said that they didn't let him ride the same bus for road games and gave him very little ice time, citing his religion and ethnicity as the reason. Bailey's assistant coach was reported to have made offensive comments such as, "Oh, I just got a friend request from a Jew," and the player has since filed a discrimination lawsuit against the Ducks. Whether the allegations were true or not, the coaching staff admitted that they made hurtful remarks, according to TMZ's original report. As a result, the story was ranked as one of the most shocking NHL scandals in history because it was unbelievable that such a story would come to light in 2011. Number 1. Mike Danton's story. Disclaimer, this next story is one of the darkest to ever exist in the history of NHL. Before we get to the story, if you're enjoying the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. This story is considered one of the most unusual and unsettling in the history of hockey. Mike Danton was a promising young player in the junior league, but he was under the control of his coach, David Frost, who had an obsessive hold on Danton's life and forced him to become estranged from his family. At Frost's urging, Danton changed his last name from Jefferson to distance himself from his family. The situation escalated when Danton was arrested in 2004 for attempting to hire a hitman to murder David Frost. A taped phone call between Frost and Danton was later found, in which Frost was directing Danton on how to handle the legal process and even forced Danton to say, "I love you." What makes this story particularly bizarre is Frost's history of sexual exploitation of minors. he had been charged with 12 counts of sexual exploitation involving 3 girls and 4 boys aged 14 to 16. Danton has since denied that he was attempting to kill Frost and claimed he was actually trying to kill his father, Steve Jefferson, who had abused him during his childhood. This story is ranked as one of the strangest in hockey history, as it involves an impressionable young player who was taken advantage of by a coach with his interests at heart, and served as a reminder of the importance of protecting young athletes. Which other NHL scandals do you know that we've not discussed? Please let us know in the comment section. Subscribe and leave the notification bell turned on, and until the next one, peace.